My name's Heidi Kirby, and welcome to Secrets to a Healthy Lifestyle Summit. The purpose of this summit is so people can learn how to improve their health using natural solutions. And today, I've invited Judith Brooks. And Judith resides in North Carolina and is an acupuncturist, herbalist, and educator. She has traveled extensively in Central and South America, working with healers from all different modalities. Judith is an advocate for environmental awareness and plant conservation. And I am thrilled to have her today because I chose Judith because of her passion for our environment and plants and her knowledge about meditation. And today we're going to learn a lot about the combination of both of these practices and how they can help you heal. So welcome, Judith.
Thank you very much, Heidi.
So Judith, how does this type of meditation help us relieve our stress?
Well, over the years, I developed a meditation where I would go out to my garden and I would ground and sit quietly with a plant for 20 to 30 minutes without my cell phone, with some water. And after the meditation, I would offer the plant some of that water. And that is, offering reciprocity to the plant. But during the meditation, I would feel more calmer. I would feel my nervous system settle. I would feel more connected to the earth and to nature and to the plants. And it just was a very peaceful, heart-centered feeling to sit with a plant in that beauty, in the garden, with the bees and the butterflies and, just all the elements right there of nature at your feet.
So when you were in the garden, what was like the first sensation you felt coming into your body that would help you lower your stress?
I think grounding, because oftentimes I would take my shoes off to meditate. So I would feel myself just settle into the earth and some of my cares and worries or concerns just dropping away and becoming more in tune with my environment and also with the plant that was in front of me. And I could feel, because I work with Qi and I'm an acupuncturist, I could feel sometimes a tingling or a warmth in my body. And as I connected to the plant, I tried different forms of meditation. I chanted the plant's name, like holy basil. And singing and opening up your throat chakra is very important when you want to connect with a plant, because the plants also have a vibration. So you don't always just think your thoughts. You want to be verbal and show your appreciation out loud to the plants. And chanting is a beautiful way. Just chanting the name of any plant that you want to connect with is a wonderful way to start. So, holy basil, holy basil, holy basil. Minutes before we began, Heidi, I went out to the garden because holy basil really wanted to be in the talk today. So you could see its beautiful little purple flowers and beautiful green leaves. And I asked permission before I went and cut the holy basil, because from what I've learned from my teachers, including Dr. Rosita Arvigo in Belize, is you want to show your appreciation and gratitude, and also, bring awareness and tell the plant, ask permission. Can I use some of your medicine today? I'd like to take a little cutting and make a little tea today with you. So that's what I did. I told Holy Basil she was going to be in the star in this little talk today. And she was very, very happy to join us. And it's that feeling that sort of in your body, a yes from the plant. As you begin to practice some of these things, you'll feel a resonance, and you'll feel when the plant is saying yes. It's not so much in words, but it's a sensation, and often it's felt in the heart or the solar plexus.
Wow. So, and of course, plants have their own energy. They're living,
Yeah, they have
breathing.
their own chi, just like us, and they photosynthesize. It's amazing. When the first light at dawn starts, the plants then begin to photosynthesize. Well, that's pretty amazing. And so they're drinking light in a way, and they're also giving us oxygen, medicine, beauty, flowers. It's incredible how much they give us. So I like to ask permission before I harvest a plant or use it for tea or to make a tincture or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a sign of respect.
It's a sign of respect for the plant and for the plant kingdom. You know, plants are our kin.
Yeah.
They really are. I mean, they are our elders in many ways. Plants have been here on the planet for 500 million years. So in terms of evolution, they're our elders, and they have a lot to teach us. Each plant has a particular vibration and has something to share with us. But going back to the meditation, that's where you want to sit quietly, listen. You might ask the plant, what do you want to teach me today? What do you want to share with me today? And that's where the sitting quietly and listening comes in.
And I guess you had mentioned before we started today about the singing bowl. And
Yes.
where does the singing bowl come into practice?
So, I began with just sitting quietly in the garden, and then I started chanting the plant's name and then sitting in silence after that and just listening. And then I have one of my favorite singing bowls here, and it's in the key of E, and it connects with your solar plexus. And I'll just play it once or twice so you can all hear it.
Hmm. Very soothing.
It's very soothing. So what I found is that a singing bowl really supports opening and clearing your own auric field, your own energy field, so that you can become a better listener. And it also, that sound is reverberating in your body, it's reverberating in your garden, and it's reverberating to the plant. So the plant sensing that on its own sensory nervous system, it can feel the vibration of your chanting or the singing bowl. And I found that very rhythmically playing the bowl helped me to drop down into a deeper state of meditation
Okay.
where I could become a better listener and become more attuned with the plants.
To the environment around you as you're in the garden
Yes.
and
Yeah,
what's speaking to you.
because that sound is opening a doorway of perception, if you would like to call it that. It's a beautiful way of opening a door to the plant. And you with practice, it's not something that will come just, doing this a few times, but it's a commitment to meditation, to the plants, to the plant kingdom, to the earth. And there's many, many ways of meditating. And
Right.
this is just a few examples, and we give more in the book about how to meditate with plants.
Yes, and we will definitely end the interview and we are going to talk about your wonderful book that you wrote. Um, so when you talk, what do you mean about reciprocity and forgiveness with the plants?
Okay. Well, reciprocity is that an act, it's an action of really giving your gratitude to the plants. And because you are taking from them, you're taking their medicine, or you're bringing in flowers for beauty into your home. And what are we giving back for the taking of the plant? So that's where the gratitude, it's an act of gratitude, and it's an act of thankfulness
Right.
to nature. And sometimes if you feel called, you can leave something for the plant. Sometimes I left a shell, or sometimes after I've harvested some holy basil, I'll offer the plant some water. Or I might, just talk to it for a little while and just thank it and tell it it's so beautiful, and thank it for what it's giving to me for that day. Instead of being just taking and taking and taking without that sense of gratitude and acknowledgement, because it's a living being that we're asking something of it. So you want to acknowledge it. And also, before you harvest, to um, let it know what your purpose for picking it
Mhm.
is. Like today, I'm going to make some tea, and I'm going to serve it to my friends who are feeling stressed out, or I'm going to give it to myself because I've been going through a little bit of a hard time. And this holy basil is going to help soothe my stress and help soothe my nervous system.
So what you're saying is holy basil helps relieve stress, that its
Holy basil's,
properties.
it's an adaptogen.
Okay.
And an adaptogen is a classification of herbs that are known to help relieve stress on the mental, physical, emotional, even spiritual levels. And holy basil is known for helping, especially with mental stress, bringing mental clarity, helping uplift someone's mood. I'm not talking about taking away anything, but just uplifting and supporting. And drinking a cup of holy basil tea, you might find in an hour after you drink the tea that you just feel a bit lighter.
Right.
Yes. And holy basil, it's been known in Ayurvedic medicine for
Mhm.
thousands of years. And they revere the plant in certain parts of Asia, and they plant it near their house. They see holy basil as a blessing to the home. And it's a beautiful plant. It has purple flowers, and sometimes when you think about the doctrine of signatures, purple can be connected to the nervous system and a nervine and help with stress.
And I liked what you said too, is plants have dual purpose. It's
Yes.
not just, oh, I'm going to make myself some tea and I might feel some relief of my stress. There's a connectedness to other plants. There's a connectedness to where it is in the garden, where it's serving you, you're serving it. It's connected.
Yes, and holy basil in the Ayurvedic text that was from 1000 AD was called the incomparable one.
Really.
That's quite an amazing statement to say about a plant. And that's how much it's revered in different parts of the world. And you can go to a co-op health food store and get some wonderful holy basil. It's also known as tulsi tea, in a tea bag. So if you don't have a garden, holy basil tulsi is very accessible now to people. It wasn't always that way, but I've seen that change, in the last 10 years or so. Tulsi has gotten more popular.
What other plants do you find a strong connection with, I guess, to help with stress?
Well, some of the plants, that we talked about in the book, blue vervain was one.
Mm.
And because that is a beautiful plant, also has a purple flower, and that is really helpful for anxiety and for perimenopausal hot flashes. And it helps soothe the nervous system. It's used a lot, even for stiff necks. When you're stressed and your neck starts to get really tight. because you're getting more and more stress. So it's all going into your neck and shoulders. And blue vervain is known to help relax the neck muscles. And both blue vervain and holy basil shouldn't be used during pregnancy.
They shouldn't or should be, can
Should
be.
not be used during
Okay.
pregnancy. But there's other, there's other herbs, that people can take. But most of the majority of people could have blue vervain and holy basil tea. That's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Very easy to make the tea. Blue vervain is slightly bitter, but you can always, put a little mint tea bag into it to help with the bitterness.
So is that the only way to utilize the plants is in like a tea, or are there other ways you cultivate plants?
Well, people make tinctures, you
Yeah.
find them in these tincture bottles, and you can find blue vervain and Tulsi in tincture forms.
Okay.
And I know Tulsi is also an essential oil,
Mm-hmm.
and it's often used. It helps clear the energy in a home if you use it in a diffuser. But mostly for holy basil and blue vervain, it's either a tea or a tincture.
Okay, great. And are there any plants that help more with grounding, like calming, energy, grounding, maybe even some people use meditation as a spiritual practice to connect to higher self?
I would say holy basil, back to holy basil, because it's known, it's grown in temples in India. So it's known for its spiritual properties. And it works on the mood. So if you're able to be a little less stressed, maybe you're able to meditate better. And it's known for helping, with even brain fog and helping lift brain fog that sometimes people get when they're stressed or overworked.
Or they're sick.
Or they're sick, yes.
So I'm sure there's some plants with medicinal purposes also, like if you're feeling like you're getting a cold or.
Yeah, we talked about thyme in the book.
Mhm.
And the simple little garden thyme, you could go out and ask the thyme, can I pick some of you because I have a little cold today, and make yourself a little fresh thyme tea. And that is very like soothing to the throat and to the lungs. And it also has a lot of antiviral properties.
Yes. Yeah, it does. And you talk about co-creating in the garden. What do you mean by co-create?
What I mean is, what co-creating is, you're also thinking and about maybe having a conversation with the plant as to, where in the garden would you like to be? I'm about to plant you, and getting a sense of you're creating this garden, and you're not just mentally figuring it out, but you're using your intuition, and you could also have a little conversation with your plant. It might not be that it answers you so much in words, but that you have an intuitive feeling that the plant would really like to go over here, and maybe it would like to be next to this plant, because plants grow in communities.
Yes.
Holy basil, you could put like 4 holy basil plants, and in a month as they get bigger, they will just fill in the space and they become a holy basil community. The same with thyme.
Right.
And plants like to be near each other. Some plants like to be near each other more than others, and you get a sense of that. It's not something so much that you read in a book, but it's comes from experience and learning and sensing what the plants will like, and it can be different year to year. It depends on where you're planting things, and that's co-creation. It's like talking to nature, talking to the plants, and working with them in creating what you want in the garden. And what you want is your plants to be healthy, for there to be beauty.
Mhm.
And it to be a place of refuge. People have a garden not only to grow food, but for beauty.
Yeah, the way you describe it, there's a almost sacredness
Yeah,
to the experience instead of, oh, I'm going to plant a garden. I need to read a book. No, 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 no. You just need to kind of settle in. What you're saying is kind of feel your way. The plants will tell you where they want to go.
free will.
And
Yeah,
it,
that's where you might need to be quiet and listen and give it space for it to come about. And we didn't talk about forgiveness, but to go back to
yeah,
circle back to that is that we're human beings, and even though if we want to live lightly on the earth, things happen. Things happen in the garden, things happen in nature. You inadvertently, step on a plant or something. And it's like practicing forgiveness and saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and acknowledging what you're doing. And it's a beautiful practice to do with people, with plants, with your animals. We all need to forgive ourselves, and also forgiveness from nature, because we're human beings, and even if we want to live lightly on the earth, things happen.
right, right. So I like that you talk about you got to be still, you got to listen, and it's a practice. So for our audience, what is a good place to start? Like, how long? Like,
How to
what
get
if you don't
started.
have a garden? Like,
Right. So here we go. You can practice reciprocity with a house plant. As long as you have a window, you can have a house plant. Or you could also plant some calendula or some holy basil in a pot, or
oh,
get a thyme plant. You could have it in your house, and you can start sitting with that plant or getting to know it. It's like getting to know a friend
mm-hmm,
and a new friend, and seeing what it's about, reading about it, but also sitting with it. And if it's an edible plant, tasting it, maybe tasting the thyme, and see where are you feeling it in your body, and where does it resonate with you, and making a tea with it, things like that. It's there's many ways to get to know plants. Sketching it, if you like to draw,
be
or journal.
creative.
Be creative. Journaling. You can journal and sit with the plant, sketch it, drink some tea, close your eyes, and then whatever message you get, take the time to write it down, because it's you want to remember it, because it's sort of like you're documenting your work with the plant. So it's like a dream. It can be very fleeting. So you want to write down your images or your messages, because they're very helpful. And while we were working on this book, there was a lot of times where there was just sometimes, closing my eyes, I just saw a picture, and it's like a dream. You don't always know what it means, but later it might come to you what that message was.
I really think that's an important message for our audience to journal. Like,
Yes.
listen to what's coming to you. It's important information. Don't judge it, don't filter it, write it down.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And if you like to draw and you see a visual image, draw it.
right.
Because everybody learns differently and receives messages differently. So some people, it will be more of a visual image, and some people, it will come in words. And so, and everybody is different. And some people, kinesthetically, just going out and putting my hands above the plant, and just sensing that chi that's coming from them, and emanating chi, and there's a reciprocity right there. And sometimes, I've had my hands tingle, or I've just felt like some sensations, and especially in your heart or solar plexus. It's like there's a connection, energy connection being made. with the plants. So some people are more kinesthetic learners. So, and then you get information that way because you're taking it in and then you're journaling about it. And sometimes amazing things happen when you do that.
Yes, you've totally shifted my perception of my garden.
Mm.
And I think it's been really helpful for our audience to learn that while go sit outside, get outside. You
Take
know,
your shoes
you
off.
don't need a meditation garden. You need a plant. You need
Yeah,
a flower. You need maybe even a tree, right? You sit
yeah,
under
yeah.
and take some time to hear and feel, however, and see what they're trying to tell you.
And if the plant is safe, you can
Right.
taste it too.
Right. I think that's
Most
amazing.
culinary herbs, you know, you can taste a little bit of the tarragon or the oregano and the holy basil and the mints and taste it and just sit with it and see where are you feeling that in your body. Close your eyes and tune into where you're feeling it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you've mentioned it. I've mentioned it. I'm going to show our audience your new book, Deeper into the Garden. And I'm going to let you tell her Meditating with Plants.
Yes,
So, and thank you for my copy.
you're
I
welcome.
love it. And tell us more about it, your
Okay.
inspiration and where they can get it.
Okay, so Paulette Millichap and Amelia Vogler and I worked on this book together, talking about plant community. We are a collective of women, and I was the herbalist, and Paulette is the publisher of this book, and Amelia wrote the grounding meditation section and chapter. So you can get it at Millichap Books, and that's Paulette Millichap's website. She's a small publisher located in North Carolina, and you can order the book directly from Millichap Books. And it will be up on Amazon soon, and so you'll be able to get it there. So right now, those are the two places. We're also working with Ingram's, which is a publishing warehouse. So the book will be available eventually in Europe
Awesome.
and Russia, China, Japan, Poland, Brazil, all the places that Ingram has book dealers that help get small books out into the world. So we're hopeful that this message will go out into the world and inspire people to be with plants, sit with plants, offer their gratitudes, connect more deeply with the earth, and also with their own hearts.
What a beautiful message, Judith. I am just like, I can't wait to dive into this book and go in the garden and experience a different relationship, right? That's what it's about, developing a different relationship. And then when you do that, you develop a different part of yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's what this journey is about. And I love your perspective on it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's gentle and it sounds very healing naturally. And that's what we want people to do.
Yes. And also it's important. We're all inside a lot. Most of us have jobs that are inside. So we want to go out and connect with nature. It's one way we can help reduce our stress.
Yes.
Is to connect with our earth, connect with our environment, and connect with our plants.
Yes, 100%, especially with this past year and a half. We've been shut in so much and very isolatory. So
And
I love you.
I've heard that people planted more gardens during COVID last year than ever before. And I went to my local nursery, and she was telling me that more and more people started gardens last year. Growing food, growing flowers.
Yes. So perfect time for your book to come out. And I want to thank you for being with us today, Judith. I loved your message. I love everything you stand for. And I think our audience is going to learn something so valuable that they were so unaware could be so easy to do to help themselves. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for inviting me to be here today.
I loved it. Thank you.